Dear children, we are going to begin with the theory on consumer equilibrium, which is propounded by Alfred Marshall based on cardinal utility analysis. Now, in order to explain the consumer equilibrium theory by Alfred Marshall, we learned the few terms like total utility, marginal utility, etc. Then law of diminishing marginal utility. It is this law of diminishing marginal utility is the basic element of the consumer equilibrium theory, which is propounded by Alfred Marshall. Throughout his theory, he has used the concept of law of diminishing marginal utility to explain his theory. Alfred Marshall has explained the consumer equilibrium in two situations. One is one commodity case and the other one is two commodity case. How the consumer reaches equilibrium stage when he is using only a single commodity. How a consumer is reaching an equilibrium stage when he is using two commodities. Now, with single commodity, he has explained how a consumer reaches equilibrium. But in a normal situation, we know that the individuals are not only consuming one commodity per day. We are using endless number of commodities. But he has explained how he reaches an equilibrium stage when a consumer uses one commodity. Now, I told you in a normal situation, a consumer is not only using one commodity, he is using different commodities per day. But it is difficult to explain with endless number of commodities. A theory cannot be explained with endless number of commodities. Therefore, he has limited his explanation with two commodity. Therefore, we can study Alfred Marshall's theory in two situations. First one is single commodity case and the second one is double commodity or two commodity case. Now, let us start today's session with single commodity case. How the consumer is going to reach equilibrium with a single commodity case. As I have explained to you, Alfred Marshall has explained the consumer equilibrium in one commodity case and two commodity case. Now, consumer equilibrium in a single commodity case works under two conditions. Alfred Marshall has given certain conditions for his theory. In a single commodity case, he has given two conditions to work. The first condition is the marginal utility of X commodity is equal to the price of X commodity. So, when you learn about Alfred Marshall's theory, you have to remember the concepts that we have learned in the last sessions like total utility, marginal utility, law of diminishing marginal utility. So, let me recollect those things. Total utility means the total amount of utility that a consumer is deriving from the consumption of one commodity. And marginal utility is the addition to the total utility when one more units of a commodity is consumed. Law of diminishing marginal utility says that when more and more units of a commodity is consumed, marginal utility will diminish. So, these three concepts should be very clear to you when you learn about single commodity and double commodity case. Now, the conditions of Alfred Marshall's theory is, first condition in a single commodity case is, single commodity means when a consumer is using only one commodity in his in a day. MUX should be equal to PX. MUX means marginal utility of X commodity is equal to price of X commodity. Second condition is total gain falls as more is purchased even after equilibrium. Second condition is total gain falls as more is purchased even after equilibrium. Purchased means he is consuming. Obviously, when he purchases, he will consume, right? So, two conditions which are required for consumer equilibrium in a single commodity case is MUX should be equal to PX and the total gain will fall when more is purchased even after the consumer reaches equilibrium. So, you know what is a consumer equilibrium, right? A consumer equilibrium is a state where consumer reaches the maximum satisfaction and after that he does not want to change his consumption pattern. So, here the total gain falls when the consumer is purchasing even after he reaches his equilibrium. So, obviously we know even after the consumer has reached the equilibrium, if he purchases again, total gain will fall. Now, let us see what is this gain, what is the total gain, etc. with the help of a table. Now, let us understand the two conditions with the help of a table. This is the table. In the table, the terms which I have given here is consumption units. Consumption units means the number of commodities that a consumer is consuming. 0 unit, 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 units. Total utility 0, 15, 28, 38, 44. Marginal utility is 0, 15, 20, 13, 10 and 6. You know how to find out marginal utility, right? Delta TU by delta Q. We have already learned about how to find out marginal utility. Then market price 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Expenditure. No commodity, so no expenditure. 0. That is why it is nil. Then again 10, 20, 30, 40. Then comes the gain 5, 3, 0, minus 4. Total gain 5, 8, 8, 4. Then comes remark. Okay. Now, let me introduce each and everything for you. Consumption units. Now, let us explain this with the help of an example. You are going to a restaurant to have chapati or paratha or whatever you like. Now, when you are going to a restaurant, you will be hungry, then only you will be going to a restaurant, isn't it, to have food, isn't it? Now, you are going to consume paratha or chapati. Let us take the example of a chapati. Now, each chapati is of rupees 10. The cost of one chapati is rupees 10. That is what is given here as market price. So, I hope these two are clear to you. 0 chapati, market price is 10. Even if you are not having chapati, the market price of the chapati is 10 itself, isn't it? Market price. Okay, so now we can put this as a blank. As you are not buying, you can put this as blank. Okay, so there won't be any confusion. So, market price is 0 there because you are not consuming, but you know that even if you are not purchasing, the market price is 10 there, but as you are not purchasing, it can be of 0. Okay, so consumption unit 0 chapati, therefore market price is 0. Now, 1 chapati, for 1 chapati the market price is 10. Now, if you are buying any number of chapatis, the price of 1 chapati will be 10, isn't it? Next, market price therefore always remains to be the same. Now, if you are buying 1 chapati, 1 into 10 is equal to 10. That is your expenditure. 2 chapatis you are buying, 10 into 2, 20, because market price of the chapati is 10. How many chapatis you are buying? 2. Therefore, the expenditure is 20. 3 chapatis you are buying, expenditure is 30. 4 chapatis you are buying, expenditure is 40. 10 into 4, 40. So, I hope these 5 are very clear to you. Consumption units means how many chapatis you are consuming. Total utility means utility, sum total of utility that you are deriving from the consumption of the chapatis. Marginal utility is delta TU by delta Q. Then comes market price, 10 rupees for each chapati. Then comes expenditure. If you are buying 3 chapatis, 10 into 3 is equal to 30. If you are buying 4 chapatis, 10 into 4 is equal to 40. Then comes the next 3 columns. I hope you know how to find out marginal utility because you have already done. Marginal utility is delta TU by delta Q. 28 minus 15. 38 minus 28 will give you 10. 44 minus 38 will give you 6, isn't it? So, 38 minus 44, the difference, minus 6. Now, I hope you all know how to find out marginal utility. Now, next is gain. What is gain? the gain that you are getting from the consumption of chapati. How will you find out that gain? The difference between the market price and the marginal utility is the gain. The market price of each chapati and the additional utility that you are getting from the consumption of each chapati. The difference between these two is known as the gain. You should have some gain. You should have some satisfaction. That gain, satisfaction level is expressed as marginal utility minus market price. What is the first marginal utility here? It is 15. What is market price? 10. So 15 minus 10, 5. What is the marginal utility of the second chapati? It is 13. What is the market price? 10. Therefore, gain is 3. Again, what is the marginal utility of the third chapati? 10. What is the market price? 10. Therefore, 0 is the gain. What is the marginal utility of the fourth chapati? Minus 6. What is the market price? 10. So, 6 minus 10 is equal to minus 4. This is the gain. So, gain is the difference between marginal utility and the market price. Now comes the total gain. When you add the gain in the successive units, you will get the total gain. Now here I have put as blank. Why it is blank? Because nothing is bought. Therefore, all these will be blank. Only with the first chapati the action takes place, isn't it? Therefore, for the first unit you will get all the values. Now how to find out the total gain? Here the total gain is 5 itself, because here it is 0. 0 plus 5 will give you 5. Next total gain is 5 plus 3, which is equal to 8. Next total gain is 8 plus 0 will again give you as 8. Next total gain is 8 plus minus 4, which is equal to 4. This is how you find out the total gain. The gain which is added in each successive units is known as the total gain. Now we will see what is the remark. Now you may go to the first condition. What is the first condition? To explain the two conditions only we are depending on this table. Therefore, now it is a time to go to the first condition. What is the first condition? Marginal utility of a commodity should be equal to Px. For a consumer to be in equilibrium, marginal utility of a commodity should be equal to the price of a commodity. Then only the consumer will reach at an equilibrium stage. Now let us see what is that. Go to the table. Now the consumer is moving on to a restaurant. He is ordering for the first chapati. There his total utility is 15, marginal utility is 15. Then the market price of the chapati is 10. He gave 10 rupees. He didn't give, but actually it is 10 rupees his expenditure. His gain is 5. Okay. Now his total gain is also 5. Okay. Here you can find the marginal utility 15 is greater than the price. What is the market price? 10. What is the marginal utility? 15. So 15 is greater than price. Marginal utility is greater than price. Why it is said like that? Because he is very much hungry. He is having the first chapati. He wanted the second chapati. His hunger is not suppressed. There the price is lesser than his marginal utility. Additional he again wants. The second chapati he needs because his hunger is not suppressed with the first chapati. He wants to move on to the second chapati. There in that situation, we can say that marginal utility is greater than the price. Why? Because he again wants chapati. His hunger is not suppressed. So, in that case, he is moving on to the second chapati. Second chapati, so 2 into 10 is equal to 20. His expenditure is 20 rupees. His gain is 3. Why it is 3? Because we know, isn't it? Marginal utility is also 13. Why? Because we know that when the consumer is consuming the second chapati, the marginal utility of the first one is when the consumer is consuming the second chapati, the marginal utility is 13. Why it is less than 15? Because you know that when the consumer is consuming more and more of additional commodity, his marginal utility comes down. So, the satisfaction of the first chapati and the satisfaction of second chapati will be different. The marginal utility of the second chapati will be definitely lesser than the first chapati, isn't it? Because with the first chapati his hunger is not suppressed. With the second chapati he will be somewhat alright, isn't it? So the second chapati, his marginal utility is 13, his expenditure is 20. Okay, 10 into 2, 20. His gain is 3. His gain is 3. That means first gain is 5. After having the first chapati, his gain is 3. Hunger is somewhat suppressed. And the total gain is 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. Here also you can find marginal utility is greater than P. Marginal utility is 13, price is 10. Definitely 13 is greater than 10. That means again he wants one more chapati. He has capacity to eat one more chapati. His hunger is not that suppressed. He again wants to have the next chapati. So with that he is going to the next chapati, that is third one. The third chapati he is having. There his expenditure is 30. 10 into 3 is equal to 30. Now here you can find the gain is 0. That means his hunger is suppressed. His hunger is suppressed and his gain is 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 0 is equal to 8. Here you can find marginal utility is equal to price, because here marginal utility is 10, market price is also 10. So 10 is equal to 10, which means marginal utility is equal to price. Here the consumer is fully satisfied. His hunger is totally suppressed. He is all right and now he is perfectly satisfied. After having 3 chapatis, he is all right and he is very happy. Here marginal utility is equal to price. So we can say that the consumer has reached the equilibrium. The consumer has gained maximum satisfaction. Again he doesn't want chapati. He reached the maximum satisfaction. So the first condition is solved. Marginal utility of X commodity should be equal to the price of X commodity. So here in the third chapati, the consumer is fully satisfied and he has reached the maximum satisfaction. Again he doesn't want to eat chapati. So the first condition is already satisfied. Now if he is having the fourth chapati, if somebody compels him, or if he is having the fourth chapati, or if he is thinking maybe one more chapati, to have one more chapati, what will happen? If he is consuming the fourth chapati, obviously you know that the gain, before that the gain was 0, now the gain is minus 4. You know that marginal utility after a particular point of time will become negative. You have learned the relationship between total utility and marginal utility, isn't it? Before that your gain was 0, and here also you can find your marginal utility has become minus 6. Why? You know that after a particular time period, if more and more is consumed, marginal utility will diminish. After some time it becomes negative. What does it indicate? I gave an example in the last video that when you are going home after the school, your mother will be giving 2 or 3 parathas. After that, if she is giving again, you will waste it, isn't it? Likewise, your marginal utility will become negative. Now you can see the gain here as minus 4. See, minus 4. Now see what happens to the total gain. The total gain has come down from 8 to 4, because 8 plus minus 4 will give you 4. Now see the remark, marginal utility is less than price. Marginal utility is minus 6 and price is 10. Here the price is more, but the marginal utility is minus 6. The satisfaction you are deriving by giving the price is less. That means 4 chapati is an utter waste. You have simply paid for the chapati, isn't it? You may think, simply I wasted money for the 4th chapati. It was okay with the 3rd one, but one more I bought. Now I have wasted my money. So here marginal utility is less than the price. Here the price is greater, the satisfaction level is less and the price is greater. So marginal utility is less than price. So in the first two conditions you found, in the first two situations you found marginal utility greater than price. Here you found marginal utility equal to price, and here you found marginal utility less than the price. So here the consumer is in satisfaction or is in equilibrium only at a point where mu is equal to price. So first condition is satisfied. Now we will go on to the second condition. What is the second condition given here? Total gain falls as more is purchased even after equilibrium. Even after the consumer has reached an equilibrium stage, even after that equilibrium, if the consumer is again purchasing the commodity, what will happen? Total gain will definitely fall. Let us see whether it is correct or not. Here, when the consumer has consumed the third chapati, he has reached the equilibrium. After that, the consumer, if again he is purchasing the fourth commodity, what happens to total gain? Total gain is falling. Total gain has fall down to 4. So here what is the condition? The total gain falls as more is purchased even after equilibrium. So even after this equilibrium, again the consumer is purchasing the fourth commodity or fourth chapati. What will happen to his total gain? His total gain will fall. It is proved from the table. The total gain has come down from 8 to 4. So these are the two conditions of single commodity case. The first one is marginal utility should be equal to price for the consumer to reach an equilibrium, and the total gain must fall when more is purchased even after the equilibrium. So these are the two conditions of the single commodity case. So I hope this is very clear to you. Thank you.